All right, good afternoon, everybody. I am Sheldon, the Cigar Dad. I am joined to my left here by Dave Weglarz. He is the owner, the CEO, the operating manager of Still 630. The floor sweeper. He's everything, top to bottom, of Still 630 Indomitable Spirits. I think I got it right that time.
Nailed it.
I think I got it. Yeah. So so we're right here in downtown St. Louis. We are a stone's throw from the ballpark, and we are going to check out some of the awesome stuff that Dave has to offer here from Still. And honestly, it's really great being here actually to check out just this whole place is just an awesome thing. You know, you can shoot a crazy amount of video here and never get bored. And you know, we've got a really awesome interview planned for you guys today, because we're gonna compare two of his newest products. Okay, it's a distillery only exclusive. It is two types of apple brandy, but he will tell you a little bit more about that when he starts to elaborate on some of the things and the reasons he's come up with what he does, and how he kind of the brainchild that he is behind all these awesome spirits.
Schizophrenic brainchild would be the correct term.
You know what? Listen, it doesn't matter, man. All those little voices, that's each individual one of the bottles is a little voice.
They're all shouting. They're all shouting. It's hard to differentiate who's speaking what.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna check those out. After we're done with a little interview piece, we're gonna go over and check out pretty much the entire lineup of spirits that they have available right now. And they do have an online store. Some things aren't available online, but you can buy them. You just have to come pick them up. We don't do shipping.
Everything is available. Everything that we have available at that time is available on our website.
Well, you heard it first.
As you said, we don't ship. We're not legally allowed to. If you have the levers of power and can change that on a governmental level, we would very much appreciate it. However, everything that we have is for local pickup only. So you probably have friends that have come in through here. You probably have some other people that will pass through St. Louis, order your stuff.
Or give me a call. Give me a call. I can pick it up.
I wasn't putting them on blast.
I'll handle the mailing.
What's your phone number?
618-719-7217. You can reach me there. You know, I'm kidding. Don't send anything inappropriate. No, I'm kidding.
The kid filled all the orders.
No, man. Honestly, please, if you guys want something and you're not in the St. Louis area, reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, or you have my number. Shoot me a text. And
or better yet, plan a trip to come view.
Yes, you should.
All that St. Louis
is a beautiful place. Awesome. It really is. I mean,
restaurants, distilleries, obviously, museums, parks.
I mean, breweries. There's, and I'm not talking about Anheuser. I'm not just Anheuser.
That's great. Yeah, but stables are even nicer than our entire building. But the rest of the breweries in town, there's over 70 of them, are all fantastic. Yeah. St. Louis is an incredible destination. You should come check it out.
And when we kick over to some of the whiskeys that they've got and other spirits, you'll understand how awesome it is, the relationship that they've built with the local breweries around here and some of the aging and things that they've done. So they're aging back and forth kind of stuff. So it's really awesome. So anyway, I'm going to stop running my mouth and I'm going to kick it over to this guy right here. And this is Dave Weglarz. He is, like I said, the CEO of Still 630. So Dave, tell me and everybody who's listening or going to watch this video, where did you get your inspiration? Tell us about yourself. Like, how did this all start? When did you decide, hey, let's open this distillery?
I'm your average knucklehead. I am not any smarter than anybody else. I'm just more stubborn. No. And I think that if you're stubborn enough, you can get good at anything if you refuse to give up. And I've had a wandering path through life. You know, I was an English major in college, so I drank a lot. Then I was a whitewater rafting guide down North Carolina for a year, fulfilling a life goal. I wanted to do that. I knew if I didn't ever do that, I would regret it the rest of my life. And one of my deep desires is that I die with no regrets. I realize that's ridiculous. But as aspiring to perfection, dying with no regrets is something to aspire to. And the idea of trying to go in that direction is going to lead you to a better path. That's where I'm at on things. And so after Rafting Guide, I moved to Chicago, became a futures trader. I trade stocks and bonds, commodities, all that nonsense.
Sure.
I did it for about 8 years. And I had some great years. I had some bad years. I loved my life in downtown Chicago in my 20s. It was fantastic.
Sounds like a good time.
It was a good time. There were some bad times, but it was overall very nice.
Easy way to spend it as fast as you make it.
If I had done that, I'd been smarter than I am.
That's fair.
I spent faster than I made. Big delusions of grandeur.
Sure.
But I did all that, and I realized that I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't doing something that I was super proud of. I didn't have anything to share with everyone else. I wasn't ripping anybody off. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was managing accounts for the company, trying to facilitate that and do good things. And I did, but I wasn't fulfilled.
Sure.
And I saw everybody else making something, being very happy with that. I saw everybody else getting into craft beer. So I thought it would be a great time to get into craft spirits. And I researched into it, looked into it, and I was like, this is 2009, 2010. And I thought, man, what an awesome thing to do, to be a 21st century liquor baron.
Sure.
Because I imagined, obviously, that somehow I would magically be successful at it. But back then, I was like, why would you not think that, right? So I said, the hell with it. And my wife knew that I was very unsatisfied, very unhappy with what I was doing. And God bless her, Sydney, my beautiful, lovely wife, was like, whatever you need to do to be happy, I'm willing to support you on.
Sure.
And she had no idea what she was getting into, let's be clear. She was just being a good, supportive wife. In retrospect, she might have said, no way. But she didn't. And she said, awesome, so let's do it. And so we looked out. We were in Chicago, and we were looking at where we're going to do this. We wanted to move out of downtown Chicago. We wanted very luxurious things like a driveway and a yard and a garage. Fancy stuff, right?
Yeah. How the other half lives. Yeah.
Exactly, right? We aspired to, enjoy the fruits of the success. And it'd be nice to go to the grocery store and be able to carry your stuff right inside and not have to walk 3 blocks from your parking space. Yeah. So we looked at it, and we kind of narrowed it down to Indianapolis, St. Louis, and Denver as the places that we're looking, because we had friends and family, we had ties to these places. We're like, let's go somewhere that we want to live. Mm-hmm. And Missouri ended up winning the challenge because they had the best liquor laws. You can have a distillery. You can have a tasting room. You can sell bottles out of your tasting room. You can have your own liquor license. You have to pay for all the licenses to do these things, but you can. Yeah. At the time in Indiana, you could only have a liquor license, if you had a working farm distillery. They just jumped into the, daylight savings time. So give them some time to catch up to the rest of the world. But it didn't hurt that my wife was from St. Louis and grew up here, and all our family was here. So, like all good St. Louis girls, she came back home and brought me with her. But I like to say it was the liquor laws that brought us.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And so we did that in 2011. We founded the company on paper. In 2012, we moved into this historic location here. It used to be an old French restaurant. I believe it's called Harday's.
I was just like, wait a minute. Did I not?
I don't speak French. Did I mispronounce it?
Harday's, yes. For somebody that knows, it's also Carlos Junior.
Yeah. See, again, I speak more Spanish and American than I do English and French. But yeah, I know the fries were French, so I assume the rest of the menu was too.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. You're not far off. Yeah.
That's our joke on the tours.
The dad joke.
Exactly.
There we go.
You're welcome. So it was an old Hardee's building, but it was right downtown St. Louis.
Sure.
It's a couple blocks south of Busch Stadium, right by the arch, tied us into St. Louis. And one of my deep desires and goals was to make a distillery that was awesome, that the local people loved, and that was so St. Louis, right? I want people to think of St. Louis and think of the arch and the Cardinals and Still 630 and not in that order. Rephrase that order. Exactly. Still 630. Hey, you got it. Anyway.
We gotta get your
we're trying.
bottles on the top shelf.
This is what we're doing here. Yeah. Exactly. That's what it's all about. So we started that, and I wanted to make a distillery with rum and whiskey, because those are my favorite things. I'd had some bad experiences with vodka as a younger drinker. I don't like it.
I don't know anybody who
don't make it.
To be honest.
If you're not trying hard enough, you didn't have a bad experience. Mm-hmm. No. The point is, vodka's flavorless and neutral, right? We like flavor. We like authentic flavor. So everything that you'll see now, today, later, all comes from an authentic point. Yeah. And it was made because me and Andrew Spa, who are in here, who are the guys behind the company, are doing stuff because we love it, not because we're the smartest businessmen in the world and we should only make one thing. Sure. You look at the guys in Kentucky, they're doing bourbon and only bourbon. Some of their best barrels go to their higher tier. Some of their second best barrels go to their second tier. The worst barrels go to the value tier. They're selling all bourbon. It's just differentiated on how good they deem the barrel, right? I'm an idiot, and I just love what I'm doing. So we make gin and rum and brandy and whiskey, and all of a sudden agave, now because we can't call it tequila. But it's not smart. I never claimed to be the smartest guy in the room. I just like to think I'm the most handsome. But that's only when I'm in a room by myself. Can I say that? So, because everybody else will say, well, that's clearly not the case right here, Dave.
Oh, get out of here.
But, look at that beard. That's better than mine, right? It's
not
stronger than me. It's obviously clear. Just accept it. It's a compliment.
Will not.
Yeah, no. But what we're trying to do here at Still 630 is make the stuff that we love and we would want to drink. That's the bottom line. Some people say we do good at that in some instances. Some people say we don't. But we're trying our best.
I mean, from my viewpoint of things with you guys and what I've known, seeing come out of here and how it's incredibly drastically changed in the last 4 years. And not that it was bad to where it had to change to be good. You guys have always made great product. I'm not tooting your horn or anything like that. You always have. I mean,
appreciate it.
And
if you want to repeat it, that's fine too.
Yeah, they make good stuff. No, they've heard this. Anybody who's listening to this or watching this is probably read at least one or two of the pairings that I've done with your guys' bourbon. So
it's always been very well written pairing.
Hey, thank you. And honestly, like I've never run into this issue where it really wasn't for me. I mean, even the stuff that I'm not huge on as far as like I like gin. It's not my favorite. I love your guys' botanical.
I was just gonna say, what is not your favorite here?
Yeah.
You said gin.
But I love your gin. I have a bottle at home on the shelf. Like it's always come.
We didn't start to make gin. I didn't like gin.
Yeah.
It was only the gin and tonic that I drank as a vehicle to get the buzz when I was younger. That was why I drank gin and tonics, because I had a shit ton of running cokes recently, and I was like, I need something different.
Yeah.
And I thought of gin as this. Not to disparage Tanqueray, but it's this pine needle. It's this, chewing on a pine. That's gin. Done. I went to the gin room here with my wife.
Natasha's?
Cafe Natasha's. Yeah. The gin room at Cafe Natasha's.
Great place, by the way.
It is the mecca for gin in America, if not the world.
Yeah, it is unbelievable.
And it's right downtown St. Louis. It's
unreal.
It's crazy.
Unreal.
But what they did was showed me and broadened my naive horizons on what the spectrum of gin could be.
Sure.
And they showed me that, hey, whiskey is made from corn or rye or barley or wheat or maybe oats. If you're getting crazy, you got millet, you got something else. Great, that's great. You got 6, 7, 8, 10 things.
Sure.
To point now, fast forward to our botanical library, we've got over 300 different individual roots, fruits, herbs, leaves, seeds, flowers, berries, peppers, nuts, you name it. All of these things are different ingredients, different colors to paint with. So you could sit here and build a brand new gin from scratch. And when she was showing me that there's this flavor, and there's this one, and there's this one over here, that blew my mind and started envisioning, well, if we just used all the fruits, leaves, seeds, herbs, berries, peppers, we could make the gins that we like. Okay. So we started with Volstead's Folly. That was our first botanical. That was the gin I wanted to drink.
Sure.
That was the gin that I wish somebody would make. So we made it. And we named it after Andrew Volstead, who wrote the Volstead Act and enforced Prohibition. This is our homage to that SOB.
If you look at his shirt, I'm pretty sure this pays homage to that.
That wasn't even intentional.
That's on the bottle. Yeah,
just in general,
that's on the bottle. So you can see what they think of him, and what we all think of him.
We got his picture.
That guy.
We got his picture from the Library of Congress. Add a little graffiti to it. Just having fun.
Hey.
Just having fun. But yeah, I hope he's turning over his grave every time we pour a glass of his drink.
Good.
But that's it. And I think that the gin in particular speaks to our ethos and approach to all the other spirits. Because for better or worse, and again, a smarter man might have said for worse, but we are trying to make the really cool stuff that we think is awesome and is unique and is us. We're not trying to out Tanqueray. We're not trying to out Beam Jim Beam. We're not trying to out Cuervo.
Yeah.
We're trying to do Still 630 as best we can and make the most interesting and unique and awesome stuff that we can.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, that's fantastic. And honestly, like I said, I mean, you guys are making stuff you guys want to drink, and I think a lot of people around here want to as well. I mean, because
I hope so.
I mean, because you guys have literally had weddings here, have you not? They've had weddings in the distillery.
I got ordained by the powers invested in the internet to allow me to marry people.
It's fine. I'm also ordained, and I'm completely convinced that I literally only marry gay people because that's basically all I've done so far. And I'm totally cool with that.
A beautiful union.
Yeah, it is. You know,
I've married. Love, it's love. And God bless you.
I've married 2 gentlemen, and I've married 2 women. To the 2 women I married were in the backyard at my house with some of my best friends.
That's awesome.
Like, so it's hilarious, right? I was also ordained by the power invested in the internet, so I love that. That was fun.
By the Holy Spirit, I like to say.
Ominous. Oh, that's the E for Internet Explorer. For those of you who didn't know. Exactly. So
we had a wedding in the back with all the barrels, and then I married. I was fortunate enough to marry my brother-in-law and his beautiful wife. I know they've got kids, so it was my wife's brother, and I married them at a ceremony, at somebody's house, and it was fantastic.
Dude, this is amazing.
But yeah, I mean, like I never imagined that I would have these powers vested in me.
Sure.
So but now I do, and I want to use them appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. Do them for
Thor
good.
And his hammer.
Yeah, that's stuff. There we go. No. So that's so awesome, man. So yeah, I mean, and I'm just looking around at all the stuff that you guys are doing. I mean, it's so
this
cool.
Is wide frame. Is this?
Yeah, they can see. So they can probably.
But they can't see everything.
They can't see the stuff back here. But they can see the wall. So if you look behind us, and you'll get a better view of this later. These are all of their experimental releases. So they do an experimental release.
These are samples of our experimental releases.
Samples, okay.
These over here in this category right here, those are the actual experimentals.
Yeah.
What you see in these bottles are different samples from different barrels at different periods of aging. So for the most of them are experimentals.
Sure.
True, as you said. But it's 6 months, 7 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15, 24, 36, whatever. They're all snapshots of that particular spirit at that time.
Sure.
So we can compare and contrast futures to olders, so that when we know, like, that whiskey is ready to go right now, because last time we tried it, it was good and those notes were there, but they were out of balance.
Right.
This time, they've kind of come into that beautiful balance.
That nice range.
Capture it up.
Do it.
Bottle it right now.
Got it.
And we may release it today, or we may release it in 6 months.
Sure.
But right now is that beautiful time to showcase that recipe. And that's what the experimental program's about, is giving you what we think is the best version of that recipe.
So you guys have a ton of different products. How often do you think it is that something that you guys do an experimental release of becomes something that's more regular production or close to?
It's a very good question, and it's harder to answer than it sounds, because it sounds complicated, and it's even more difficult, because while of the 49 that we've released so far, we release 1 per month. First Friday of the month, but you can come down any Friday of the month from 5 to 9 p.m. to enjoy delicious cocktails and try the new experimental sample. This is a plug.
Yeah.
Sorry, was that
no, that's okay, and you should, because they're
fantastic.
Andrew
it's fun.
and the team, Andrea as well.
Incredible cocktails.
Awesome stuff.
And
super
we
cool.
change the cocktail menu every time we change the experimental spirit.
Yeah.
And so any month.
For instance, here, I'll
Friday,
go grab
these
here. To give you an idea, this is kind of what they do. And I'll take a picture of this and throw it on the post so you guys can kind of see this in a little bit of a gallery format. But like I said, this is what, every year they've got, their different quarters and stuff like that, and all that different piece. I'm sorry, that was part of the experimental piece?
Yeah, every quarter is themed up to be similar.
Sure.
So they're the exact same types of spirits, but different.
Yeah.
So you can compare and contrast and really hone in on what you like and what you don't like.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we just started a quarter of Missouri bourbons. So they're all going to be bourbon recipes, but one might have a little smoke. One might have a little more wheat or rye or chocolate barley. They're all different.
Yeah.
And the point is that you come down here, you try it for free, and you tell us what you thought.
We like it or we don't.
If you were the only one that filled out a survey, you could single-handedly determine what we make.
Yeah. So yeah, it really does. And you guys you do a lot of the barrels are here, but you have a separate place, warehouse or other barrels, right?
Most of our big barrels are all offsite. We've
Okay.
got over 350 different barrels offsite.
I assumed that was the case.
Our
but,
experimentals are all here because we do those in smaller barrels to get a little truncated aging time on there. And again, we're trying to get an idea of what this would be like. If you like this experimental, then we have a positive association to think that a bigger batch in a bigger barrel for a longer time is only going to be better. We can't prove that, but that's what we believe.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, so when you get through those experimentals, that's what these samples are about, and we can try it at 6 months versus 7 versus 9 versus 15 versus 26.
And when I'm saying there's a lot of them, I mean, this wall, it starts here, as you can see, but it goes all the way around behind us and halfway around the building, and I think they continue adding shelves in to fit more. So it's actually really cool how much stuff they have here.
Over 3,000 at this
That's
point.
unreal,
Stupid.
unbelievable.
Stupid.
Yeah, so I mean, so
That's
speaking of, you mentioned earlier taking different at different times in the aging process and comparing the two. We actually also want to do a little comparison in this video.
Perfect.
So I showed you earlier, we've got 2 different types of brandy. So these are made exactly the same, but they're aged slightly differently, and you can see one's a bit darker than the other. And I'll let Dave kind of explain which one's which and kind of the differences.
So, and this is a perfect tie-in. I know we did talk about this before because I was here for what we talked about before. This wasn't part of it.
Hope so.
X4 was our apple brandy. It was an experimental spirit. People loved it. Apparently, allegedly, it was a home run based on all the regulations, all the surveys that came in. So we said, okay, great. So we used local apples from a local orchard right over the river, fresh pressed. We get that beautiful apple juice delivered to us, and we get it about 1,200, 1,500 gallons at a time. I take 2 or 3 gallons home because my family loves apple juice.
Who
It's my
wouldn't?
favorite thing.
Who wouldn't?
It's like the most beautiful little apple cider that comes in there. And
It's
we drink a little bit of it.
It's your little off the top. He's embezzling. Get him. IRS needs to come get him. He's embezzling apple juice.
I'm stealing it. But then we ferment it with a different cider yeast that we use, which is totally different from any of the whiskeys, rums, gin, anything else we use. This is a different yeast that we use for it. Ferment it out a little bit longer, about 12 to 14 days, and then we double distill it like everything else. So it's the exact same apple brandy distillate that comes off that. And we've got it in one of our totes right here, so it's low wines after the first distillation, high wines after the second, but it's in there, it's ready to go into the barrel.
You can probably see just the corner of that off on the right side of the video as you're watching. Yeah, I think they can kind of see it over there.
But the difference, which we were trying to allude to get me to talk about only, is the difference in the barrels. And that's where it really differentiates itself, because we have the knowledge of good and the knowledge of evil, apple brandy. And one of the fun parts of owning a distillery, you got to turn it around so they can.
Oh yeah, sorry. You can get the glasses down here too.
Come on. Yes, we sell them $10 a piece, $5 if you buy them.
Oh my God.
One of the best parts of owning a distillery is you get to come up with the names.
Sure.
One of the most infuriating parts of owning a distillery is you got to come up with the names of the stuff.
Sure.
And it's got to be creative and unique and marketable, and it can't offend anybody. My God, this day and age,
it's easy to do.
Good luck. So that's why we've named half the stuff after my dog, right? But when we were thinking about apple brandy, I was thinking Appleseed, Johnny Appleseed, Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden. What was the tree, the name of the tree the apples came from? It was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, okay, this is perfect. Yeah. So we've got the knowledge of good, which is our apple brandy aged in a new barrel, and the knowledge of evil, which is our apple brandy aged in our used 5-year-old rye whiskey barrel. It's one of our coup d'etat barrels, our spirits, one of the best things we make, one of our crown jewels, I would say.
And easily one of the most highly awarded bourbons, I would say, at least in the Midwest. I mean, I would definitely put my money on that.
It was named the best craft whiskey in the country in 2018.
So, yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. I can zoom them in if you need to.
I'll get that in the next little piece of the video that we'll check out next. You guys can check that out.
It's our beautiful, unaged, uncut, unfiltered rye whiskey.
Yeah.
It's aged over 5 years. When that barrel's empty, we put in the brand new, fresh apple brandy into it. And then it ages for 3 years, a little bit more, just like the knowledge of good does as well. But as you can see from that color, and as he showed you earlier on those glasses, new barrel, used barrel. That's the difference between them.
Yeah.
Every barrel absorbs some of that oak essence because alcohol is a solvent, right? Obviously, you already know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But every time you put it in there, it absorbs some of that oak essence, and there's less available for the next time, and so on and so on. Eventually, you're going to get to a neutral barrel that's no longer doing anything. But that second time you use it, you're absorbing that beautiful flavors, the residual notes that were in there from the first use.
Yeah.
So that 5-year rye whiskey has some of that potent rye creaminess, sweetness, little pepper in there, but it blends in over years with this new aged apple brandy, and it produces 2 totally unique spirits. And this year, this weekend, the first time that we've ever gone to larger sizes with new labels and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm very proud to debut this on your podcast here, and this is The Knowledge of Good and Evil. It's a seasonal release. It's only supposed to be here in the fall because it's the best time of year.
And chances are it's probably not going to last the weekend.
We were just here for the Best Missouri Market, and it's not looking good for November. Which is a great problem for us.
Great for him, not so great for us.
But you want to enjoy it, so don't sleep on it. So, or we'll have another batch next October.
Yeah, so I'm just going to wait till he goes to the bathroom and run out of here with these, so I don't have to fight somebody to get my own bottle. No. But
I hope it doesn't come to that. I don't think I'm going to fare very well on that.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to fight you. I'll just wait till somebody else comes out. No,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So no.
Andrew, you take him out real quick.
Exactly, it'd be easy. So I hope he watches this.
That was worth the whole thing.
I really hope he does.
It would be easy. It would be easy.
Oh no, Andrew seriously is great. Like the guy's awesome.
Beard,
so
but
he does, and he's Indomitable Beard on Instagram. You guys got to go follow him. He's great. He seriously does some cigar pairings as well with whiskey. So do check him out. Great person.
He'd be a great guy to have on too.
I know. Yeah,
he'd be an even better guy to have a smorgasbord, like a meal of wood over the bodies of your enemies, a la the Mongols. And this is all just a reference for him because he'll get exactly what
I was like, where is this going?
You're going to eat a dinner on top of him as he dies in the muck below you.
Jesus Christ, I love it. No.
I thought you would. Absolutely. I thought it'd be great.
No, so here's what we're going to do.
You'd really enjoy it. It brings out the different notes in the brandies as people are gasping the last gasp.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
No?
I disagree with everything I just said.
Maybe. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and try these. We're going to do a little bit of a quick tasting note thing for you here from the man himself. And we'll kind of just let you know what we think, and we'll compare the two so you guys can get a really great idea, at least from our palates, what these two are all about. And then, hopefully this weekend, Friday, I believe it starts at
5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
5 to 9.
In the distillery. Come
on down here. Still 6:30. It's right in downtown St. Louis, I said, and you'll have to see if you can get your hands on a bottle. So, all right. Cheers.
So first off, Knowledge of Good.
Knowledge of Good.
This is the new barrel.
New barrel.
So what are you getting out of this? Because obviously it's darker.
So on the nose, it literally smells straight up like apple cider. Like there's just a little bit of like that. It's got like that. You can smell a little bit of that whiskey-esque-ness to it, but it's not. It's kind of on the back end. It's super pungent, like really good.
You're gonna know immediately that. Wait a sec, this isn't normal whiskey, right? No. It's not. To your point,
there's like sweetness. There's almost like a honey-esque note, like apples, honey, caramel, in there. So, and that's just on the nose.
And all that similarity on the nose, which I would say continues through the palate. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But I'll talk later. Is that's the difference, or the similarities rather, in that whiskey versus apple brandy versus other barrel-aged spirits, right? The common thread is only that new barrel.
Yeah.
And then we use new barrel for everything, for a rye whiskey, a rum, the other bourbons, everything we do. Generally, for the most part, is new barrels.
Yeah.
That includes the apple brandy in here. And so what you're getting at first in there and first sip and nose are some of the trademark notes of what that beautiful new Missouri oak barrel can do for a spirit. Mm-hmm. Everything beyond that you're enjoying and smelling and appreciating is from the distillate itself, right? So that new barrel has its own characteristics and that beautiful uniqueness. And that's why you can use a similar thing and get different outcome.
Absolutely. No, yeah. So that's fantastic. I said it is so good, and you'll be able to taste all those really good, all that apple juice esseness to it. And but it's not overly sweet, right? It's not. Yeah, it's not like a syrupy sweetness that just kind of gums up your mouth. No, it's very clean. It's very smooth, and it's just the right amount with just the right amount of like bite on the back end, And it's just like it is just right.
I very much appreciate you saying that, because that is one of the hardest things for us to convey to people is what you just said. It is not syrupy sweet because we're not injecting flavors into it, which so many brands, I'm not naming anybody, but so many big brands, they're super popular and that's great if people like them, but they're injecting a certain flavoring ingredient into it. And that's why your screwball tastes so peanut buttery, because they put peanut butter flavoring in it. And nothing wrong with that, but that is not what Still 630 is doing. All the flavors that we get and you're going to taste in any of our spirits are from authentic, original ingredients. And when you get in this and you get that apple note, it's notes. It's not in your face, right? And you get
this artificial flavor. It's real, true.
You can't find something with artificial flavor there. You might find intense flavors. We have those. Trust me.
They do.
But I mean, our breakfast brew or agave, like those are awesome. They're in your face. That's our coffee infused whiskey. And that's because we put actual cold brew Caldi's coffee in the whiskey. We didn't flavor it with it. But going back to the brandy, so you have a little bite in there. We're looking for nuance. We're looking for notes. We're looking for aspects of that flavor and hopefully the best parts of it. That's what we're trying to communicate in there. It's not for everybody, but we hope it's for people that care about what they're drinking, right? And that's why we're talking about this, because these two are very, very, very similar, but uniquely different. And the aspects of it are what your podcast is all about, is delving down into those pairings and what cigars are great with them, but appreciating craft for its intention, not just the outcome. Hopefully they match up.
Absolutely. So now tried that one, right? So that was the brand new barrel, all right? And now we're going to move to the knowledge of good, which is this is the knowledge of evil, which is going to be the lighter colored, which, as he stated before, is aged in their 5-year Rally Point rye barrels. Like I said, Rally Point is really that is kind of what the entire distillery rallies around. It is probably their most awarded whiskey, and their 5-year is just out of this world. It's fantastic. Been lucky to have at least most of the last 5 years. This is the 5th year. It's the 5th 5-year. So this is the one that they basically barreled after they had unbarreled the first one, more or less.
Almost.
Pretty close.
Yeah. The first one came out in 2017. Yeah. And we like to do it every year. Booker's does it the best. We're not trying to copy them. We're just trying to make ours unique and identified each year. So we had the COVID barrel last year. Before that, we had the Big Jake batch because it was on the anniversary of the day that we adopted him. He's our big white dog. Sure,
yeah. You'll see the homage paid to him here in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And, Big Jake is all over this place. And then this year, it was my dad's barrel, and we put it down. And I put down barrels, whatever we need to, and as soon as possible. But if I can wait a day or go a day early and put it down on a day that's meaningful for us, I do.
Absolutely,
because I'm running this place.
Fantastic.
And I'm but I did it for my dad, who's been the greatest man I know in my life, and it was all a tribute to him. And so if you buy a bottle of these, we have, I think, 18 bottles really meaning. But on the side, it's all engraved because the lovely Andrea, who's one of our bartenders, you wouldn't find it on this one.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, it is?
I was subconsciously pointing.
You're good.
But she engraves all the 5-year bottles. So they're really sexy and really attractive and really collectible, as you were saying. Yeah. And this one is dedicated to my dad. But as soon as we empty that 5-year, we put that apple brandy, the same one we put into the new barrel, we put it in that used 5-year-old rye whiskey barrel. And so it absorbs some of that essence in there, that residual flavor. And I think, to me, that is the hugely defining note between the two. They're slightly different proofs because you would assume the knowledge of evil is a little bit more intense, a little bit harder. But it's the same apple brandy, but now you get to see what the new barrel versus that rye whiskey barrel really does to it. What do you get out of that?
So, really the nose of this thing is you still get, it's a little bit slightly less sweet than the first one, but what you really get is you get that sweetness, and then with that you get this really powerful, that's rye whiskey. There's no other way to point it. It's that is rye whiskey. There's something rye-esque about this, even on the nose, and I think that's what's really fun about this. And then going to the actual drink,
and some people really like rye whiskey and other people are wrong. I know you laughed at. No, but that's one of the things that we do big time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of our features. But we wanted to put it on there. I wanted it to be a palpable and tasteable note on there. Because if you're going to put out 2 different ones, you got to make them different.
Sure.
Nobody wants one that's, I can't tell the difference. It might as well be the same.
This one is noticeably different.
It's got to be.
I mean,
right? and it should be,
and you
for all those reasons.
Because like, yeah, there's like that brandy bite that you get out of this one, but this one, it's like apples straight up on the tongue. You get a little bit of that brandy bite, and then just like it comes in like a wave of like that good rye heat. I mean, you're getting all the awesome notes of the. You can seriously still almost taste some of those same powerful notes of the rally point of the 5-year that's awesome. In there. And we'll talk about the 5-year actually in a little video that we're going to do after this.
Sure.
We're actually going to do a little pairing for you guys. It'll come up in a later video. But
let's pair everything because
absolutely. so I mean, we're going to do a little pairing. That's going to be a little video, probably the first pairing video that I've done on this channel. So kind of cool. Again, that 5-year, I wish that everybody could have gotten a bottle because it was just that good. But I mean, that's kind of the fun part about bourbon is when it's gone, it's gone. It's that's the unique and also the not so fun part about it.
I don't know how to agree with that more, because this is coming from the guy who makes it.
Sure.
Everything that we make is made to be enjoyed. If you want to save it for 20 years and pass it down to your kids, great, please, thank you. Buy another bottle so that you can enjoy it.
And that's what I try to do. Yeah. So
exactly.
the Gloria was a perfect example of that. I bought 2 of those, and the reason why, right? My youngest son.
Well, explain the Gloria.
So the Gloria, sorry. The Gloria was a bottle of whiskey, and it came in the 375. It's an award-winning whiskey. It's over there on their wall of award winners. And it was, I don't know all the exact details, but
Mega award-winning.
What's that?
Most important was the homage it paid.
Yeah. So it was bottled on the day that we won the Stanley Cup. The Blues won the Stanley Cup here in St. Louis after 50 long years of waiting.
52 years.
52, sorry. 52. I tried to round down to make it not sound as bad, but you know.
And we're not the Cubs. They went a century. If I put my knee up here, does that bother you?
No, we're good. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, we had to have a brief intermission. One of the batteries decided to die in the camera. So no.
Yeah, we didn't drink any other booze.
No, I promise, none. So no, so you haven't missed out on much. No. So what we were saying was, the Gloria, right? It was bottled on the day that the Blues won the Stanley Cup after 52 years, and it's super special. That is special, even more special to me because my youngest son, my wife and I. That was the day that he was conceived, right? So all the things.
Let's go, Blues!
Oh no! Yes, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So
yes,
I got laid right around the time the Blues won the Stanley Cup. It's the only time.
She was in the penalty box.
Exactly.
All right,
yes.
we're late.
For 9 months, she was in the penalty box.
No doubt. Yeah.
No. But so yeah, for real, it was great. I mean, honestly, it was in that one. I look at that bottle and I'm just like, I want to open it. But I don't, because there's part of me that wants to wait.
Well, I heard you say you got 2.
I do have 2.
So I imagine that you should open one now.
Well, the one's already gone. The first one's gone. I drank that one. The first one's gone. That first one was long gone.
Pretend like you're longing for this one. Like, I wonder what you taste like.
Yeah, no.
It might be totally different. You might need to open it and
you're right.
try
yeah, just to make quality assurance, really.
It behooves you to do your due diligence.
So
what we were saying from that was we had several barrels of bourbon, because bourbon's always been one of the things that I wanted to make most. It's also one of the things that I wanted to take my time and make sure that we did right and age it appropriately and everything else. But I don't want to say that, because I wanted to age our rye appropriately too, and I think that rye matures and is more delicious at a younger age than bourbon made me need a little bit longer. Could be totally wrong. I don't know on that. And I don't want anyone to judge us good or bad on that. So edit that out. But what I really thought was that we put out a couple bourbons. We put out a Ramon Bell every year for the greatest college football game nobody's ever heard of, because it takes place in Indiana. But I went to one of the schools, so I carry it, and then nobody else.
It matters to him.
It does, and
he owns the damn place.
And that's a microcosm of Still 630, because I'm in charge. And you know what? Doesn't mean to make sense, but it does mean that Dave cares. That's the gist of it. But the point is, we had some barrels of bourbon that we put aside for long-term things that were like we'll release this someday for something cool. The Blues winning the Stanley Cup was something very cool that we had to put out something for. And so we tasted through all of our bourbon barrels that we had, and we chose our favorite one, and we put that out there.
Yeah, it was ironic that when you guys released that, because I didn't know, or when you released it, I don't even know that was another distillery exclusive.
100%.
You could not get it online.
That was our best line. We had a line around the building.
Yeah, of course. That day, I see that they're releasing it. I'm like, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I'll do anything for this. And then it was like, hey, this is coming out today. It's a distillery exclusive, and I'm out of town. I'm going to Texas.
Figures.
So
probably some competition.
We were, I was like, I gotta have this bottle. So a guy that I had no idea who he was. I posted on my Instagram. Bourbon Hunters is his name.
Okay, good guy.
Great guy.
Shout out to him.
And he has incredible collections of whiskey. So I won't even dive into all that, but
please,
the beauty of it.
Let's keep it focused on the subjects there.
The beauty of it is, he was like, dude, I'll get you. I said, how many was I said, I'll take 2. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, trust me. Like, if you PayPal me, I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna get one. A couple for myself. And I'm like, all right, cool.
I just paid you for 2 and I'm going to get 1.
Yeah, so I was like, all right. Well, really, honestly, he's like, and I said, okay, that's fine. And he's like, you want the money now? And he goes, you know what? No, just send it to me. You can literally send it to me in the parking lot when I bring it to you. I'm like,
that seems like a good deal.
Dude, win-win. I'm not on the hook for anything if he doesn't get it. It's not a big deal. So he's a super nice guy.
How about let that be a lesson to all of you whiskey aficionados that enjoy sharing bottles with other good people. That's great. The best way to engender goodwill and trustworthiness is to provide the transaction when the bottles are transacted, right? Is that our takeaway for today?
That's the takeaway.
That's the best PSA we could do.
Nothing else, yeah.
Don't pay till you get it. Don't pay till you get it and be an upstanding citizen like Bourbon Hunter.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of what we had planned for the little episode that we've got here. I think we've kind of hit on just about everything, except for one more thing. We are going to do a quick rundown of the line of the whiskeys that they got. Dave's going to talk about them real quickly individually. You guys can see the huge variety that he has, and then we'll cut and we're going to do another video offline that you guys will see here in a couple weeks. So
he's wrong about the real quickly, but everything else is accurate.
It's fine. We'll figure it out. All right, cool. We'll check you back here in a minute. All right, we are back with Dave. We are going to take a look at all of the awesome products that he's got pretty much on the site available right now. So you want to kick it off, man?
Yeah, I apologize in advance for the extremity of what we've got here. But the first one is one of our most proud. We've got our Swine Shine. We make it with KC95, the best classic rock station in the world. They're right here in St. Louis, and they wanted a lemonade flavored moonshine, so we made it for them. It's perfect for any real rock occasion. TM. Okay, so fantastic stuff. Now we're into gin. We've got our Volsteads, named after Andrew Volstead, who wrote the Volstead Act that enforced prohibition. This is our homage to that SOB. We got his picture from the Library of Congress, add a little graffiti to it, just having fun. This is the gin that I made that I wanted to drink. Lemongrass, sage, elderberry, very beautiful botanical gin. If you don't think you like gin, Volstead's is what you should try to confirm that fact. Next up is our American Navy Strength gin. We wanted to make a totally different gin because we have a beautiful botanical library of over 300 different individual roots, fruits, herbs, leaves, seeds, flowers, berries, peppers, nuts, you name it. All these bottles are different ingredient and different flavor, different colors to paint with. And we tasted them at different proofs. And we realized that some taste better at a higher proof, some a middle proof, some a lower proof. And so we set them aside, and then we use the higher proof ones to build our Navy Strength. And therefore it's lemon pepper with a little floral note on top. Very beautiful, very distinctive botanical gin in there. And two-step gin is made exclusively for the Last Hotel, a boutique hotel downtown St. Louis. They wanted their own signature gin, so their owners came here. We used the botanical library to build two-step to be that gin. Think pink peppercorns and horseradish. It's weird, but it works. 3 totally different individual gins that we have there. Now, we've got up our agave spirit. This is based on all of the feedback from all you people from our experimental series right here. X34, 35, and 36 were different agave spirits. And we use that feedback to create our smoked mushroom agave, which is mesquite smoked portobello mushrooms infused into our agave spirit. It's a tequila, but we can't call it that because we're not in Mexico. It's delicious, it's weird, it's wild, it's wonderful. Now, we've got the 2 apple brandies that we just talked about earlier. This is our knowledge of good and evil right here. So exact same apple juice from the local orchard, apple brandy in here. The difference is the barrels. Knowledge of good is a new barrel. Knowledge of evil is our used 5-year-old rye whiskey barrel. That gives it different notes and nuances, but it's delicious apple brandy aged over 3 years in those barrels. Our rum, our pot still rum today is Expedition Rum, 100% grade A fancy molasses, aged a little over 3.5 years in our new barrels. This is not Captain Morgan. It's not a spiced rum. It's a barrel-aged amber rum, more in the Jamaican pot still vein. It's big, funky, rich molasses notes. The next ones down through here are all whiskeys, but we're all over the board with different styles and profiles. First 2, same thing. This is our rye whiskey. So you've got the unaged and the aged version. 90% rye, 10% barley, unaged, aged almost 4 years in here. Big Jake, named after my big white dog Jake in there. Great mixer, great cocktail ingredient. It's got that rye breadiness. When you age it for about 4 years in our new barrels, you turn it into our flagship rye whiskey, Rally Point. We do styles and variations off it, but Rally Point is our bread and butter. This is what we do best, that people love the most. If you take that Rally Point out of its original barrel and finish it for another 9-10 months in a ex-bourbon, ex-maple syrup barrel, you get our Rally Point Maple Sunset. We release this every October. It's one of our most popular spirits every year. It is a rye whiskey with bourbon maple syrup notes, not a maple flavored whiskey. 2 very different ideas there.
Not that you're talking shit on anything or anything like that.
Not taking shit on anybody else. Telling you how we do it and why we do it for notes. Everything that we have is notes, aspects, nuances. We're not squirting peanut butter into something like Screwball or whoever else would be doing something like that. Now, if you like barrel strength whiskey and you're a fan of rye whiskey and you want to taste one of our cherry picked single barrels of our Rally Point whiskey, aged over 5.5, almost 6 years at this point, uncut, unfiltered, barrel strength, rye whiskey right here. That's our 5-year Rally Point. We release 1 barrel per year. It was named the best craft whiskey in the country in 2018. We're very damn proud of that. It's a beautiful hand engraved bottle in there. It's one of our crown jewels. That's our 5-year rally. This is the used barrel that we use for the knowledge of evil over here. So when you get our apple brandy aged in the used barrel, it's that 5-year-old rye whiskey barrel in there. These 3 are exactly the same and uniquely different. They're all our Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. They're all 70% corn, 20% rye, 10% barley. They're all 4.5 years and proofed at 90 proof. But they're different because each barrel have its own character and nuances. I was president of the Missouri Craft Distillers Guild in 2019 when we passed a bill into law to create Missouri bourbon whiskey, which is its own specific class and type of thing. Now there is Missouri whiskey. And so it's up to us Missouri distillers to make it a statement of quality and not just a fun fact, right? So we do our part at Still 630 by releasing a different single barrel each and every month as Missouri bourbon whiskey. So they're all 4.5 years old, 90 proof, same mash bill, but each barrel has its own character and nuance. You might know more a little pepper, a little more vanilla, more oak, more spice, all the same, uniquely different. Very awesome Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. These 3 are the weirdest things up here. This is our craft brewery collaboration series. Whiskey is just basically distilled beer turned into whiskey. So we said, why not take some awesome local beers, distill them, turn them into wild, weird whiskeys. Turns out they turned
Works out pretty good.
Incredible whiskeys. So these are craft beers locally that we turn into whiskeys. So we took the actual beer for Presence of Darkness. We took the actual peanut butter chocolate milk stout from Four Hands Brewery, distilled it, aged it in new barrels, turned it into whiskey we call Presence of Darkness. It's weird, it's wild, it's malty with little peanut butter notes on the back end. It's not Screwball. We didn't inject peanut butter flavors. It's a beautiful malt whiskey with little peanut notes. Headless Horseman whiskey started off life as O'Fallon Brewing Company's Imperial Pumpkin Stout. We took that pumpkin beer, distilled it, aged in new barrels, turned it into whiskey that's perfect for fall. Spice, cinnamon, pumpkin notes. It's our Headless Horseman whiskey. And Still Ken was made from Urban Chestnuts Kinsale Export Stout. So it's their version of Guinness, right? And it distilled that stout down, brought out these beautiful milk chocolate Whoppers. If you're familiar with Whoppers candy, this is that as a whiskey. It's that milk chocolate, beautiful notes in the whiskey in there. And last but not least, we've got our Big Jake Breakfast Brew. This is our Caldy's Coffee infused collaboration, where we did barrel-aged Caldy's coffee infused directly into our Big Jake Breakfast Brew. This is the most hit or miss thing that we make, but people tend to love it or not love it.
Personally, I love coffee though, so that's just me.
But that doesn't always ring true, because some people who drink a lot of coffee actually drink coffee with the sugar and cream.
Right, yeah.
You know, they're not drinking cold brew coffee, right? But it makes awesome cocktails. It's very delicious, totally unique, right? So we make an array of spirits. We have a lot of seasonals, a lot of variations that come and go. We're trying to make the best stuff that we can. We're not trying to make everybody love everything. We're trying to make each and every spirit as best we can, and hopefully all of you can find something that we love. And if you don't want to try something or buy a bottle, then come down on Fridays, try a delicious cocktail, and sample it.
I think you guys could probably find something that you like for sure. There's a lot here. A hell of a lot here.
So yeah, well, hey Dave, I wanted to thank you again on behalf of the Cigar Dad, and
It's my pleasure.
and seriously, man, it's been awesome. I know we had to reschedule a number of times to get this to work out, but life happens. So yeah, so hey, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna light up. I've chose the Mil Diaz as our cigar to smoke, the cigar that was 1,000-day aged, as they say, and we are going to pair that to.
You tell me.
We are going to pair that to this absolute beauty right here. So,
Fantastic.
if that's interesting to you, stay tuned. A couple weeks after we drop this video on the site, which I'm going to try to get up by this weekend. I'm going to post that one as well for you guys to check out, because like I said, that 5-year, it's once a year, and once it's gone, and it's never coming back. So it is a one-of-a-kind opportunity that I'm absolutely exhilarated to share with Dave. So, with that said, we are going to close it out here for this video.
For the record, we have 14 bottles left.
Oh, they have 14 bottles left. Oh, so it's not gone yet.
And you can order that one online.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, through the website.
So,
yeah, tell them.
Yeah, I'll link it in the video, or in the post. So hey, thanks again, Dave. I appreciate it. And
From the Cigar Dad, cheers.